what we're doing, as you can look down here, we're fortunate in our gym to have these lines. We're trying to be positive here about having extra lines. We use it as a teaching tool. These yellow lines that go down the middle of the court, these are like the tracks. These are the train tracks that Gabe and Mason are going to try to stay between as they make moves at the chairs. Right now, the only move we're going to work on is a crossover. So as we showed you before, Gabe was trying to get by his defender, which was Mason before. Now it's chairs. So Gabe's going to come up with the ball in his right hand. Gabe's going to come up with the ball in his right hand. He's going to make a crossover. And a big step. Now we want him to try to stay inside the track. If he steps just outside the track, that's not a big deal. But we want to give them visuals. We want to give them a visual of what they're trying to accomplish. They try to stay vertical. Try to get up the tracks. So I'll be moving around here as they do this. When the ball goes from their right hand to their left hand, I'm going to back up here just a couple, Gabe. I want you just to demonstrate, and I'll talk. He keeps the ball in his left hand, comes to the next chair, and then rips through with his left foot. And then to the next chair with his right foot, rips through. Okay? All right. So when Gabe gets to when he gets to the fourth chair, gets about halfway, then Mason is going to, actually, you know what, let's do, when Gabe gets to the second chair, Mason's going to start. Because that's what we would like you to do with your team. When you've got many kids going, when they get past that second chair, that next kid can go. If you lose control, you hustle, you get the ball, you sprint back, and you start where you lost control. You don't have to start from the beginning. You also don't get to bypass the rest of the chairs. You go to where you lost control and you continue from there. All right, so last teaching, so we're going to talk, we go right to left or left to right. It's a hard, low crossover. That ball stays tight to your body. Okay, the other teaching point is that rip-through step has to be explosive. We talk about getting shot out of a cannon. This is not going as fast as you can for 84 feet. It's going fast 8 times. There are 8 chairs. He's going to have 8 explosive steps. All right, start behind the red line, Gabe. Ready? Go. Explode, explode, explode. Mason loses control. He goes back to where he lost it. Explode, explode, come on. Stay low. Okay, good. Now, coming back, we start with our other hand. The other thing we want to talk about real quick is staying low. When you make a move on a defender, you want to gain the advantage by getting your shoulders lower than his. Okay, right now, we want to even go lower than that. We say get your shoulder down to below the chair, where the chair starts. We want Gabe and Mason, when they make this move, to get that shoulder down, rip that foot through, and get up the floor. Okay, ready? Go. Shoulder down. Watch his footwork. Big step, big step. Okay, as you can see, we don't want to go side to side. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit because they got to get by these chairs, but we're not going way out and way back. We don't like that zigzag dribble stuff because we think it teaches kids to go side to side. We want to get the ball to the rim. That's always our goal, is to take the ball to the back of the rim. All right, I'll give you one more look here going down the chairs. Let's see how they do. Let's see if they can stay inside these tracks. Okay, ready, guys? Stay low. Big 8 explosive steps. Go. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Good. I'll take one more video from the back so you can see. One more time. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Catch your breath, because I want you to go hard. And listen to me now. Keep that ball tight to your body. We want to protect it. Protect the basketball from that defender. Protect it. Keep it tight. Rip it through. All right, ready, Gabe? Go. Rip it through. Rip. Explode. Rip and explode. 8 times. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Eyes. Very good, guys. Excellent. You see, listen, again, if they never make a mistake, show me how fast you're going to go if you don't want to make any mistakes. Start over. Start at the bottom. Start at the bottom. Start at the bottom, at the end of the baseline, rather. Under the basket. Okay? Okay, Mason could do this all day long, and he's not ever going to make a mistake. Gabe could do that all day long. Okay, good. Hold the ball. But they're never going to get better. You have to get the kids to push themselves to go fast. Right? Okay, good job. When we shoot the basketball, we need to modify a little bit for younger players, 3rd and 4th graders. The most important thing that you can teach them is to stick one hand in the basket. They're probably going to have to use their guide hand a little bit to get the ball to the basket just because of their size and strength. But start emphasizing sticking their shooting hand in the basket, not taking the guide hand into the basket. All right, so one thing you can do to lead up to shooting is we call it step 1, step 2 shooting. So you see Mason and Gabe here on the lane lines across from each other. Okay, so Mason starts with the ball, and he is in what we call step 1. Step 1, show us step 1, please. Step 1 is the before. Okay, so before he shoots, so his target right now is Gabe. So if I get across from, and I give you Gabe's perspective, you're going to notice something that may be different than the way you learned to shoot. Things are different now. We know that great shooters do not shoot with their shoulders square to the basket. They never have. You may start thinking about really good shooters that you remember from your era. I know the best shooter that I ever had the opportunity to watch as a youngster was Larry Bird. And his shoulders never square. Always shot off the right side of his body. The great shooters of today, and even other shooters of that era, Steve Alford, Chris Mullin, great shooters from that era, all shot off the right side of their body, but we were told that they shot with their shoulders square, and it's just not true. To fast forward to now, the great shooters now, Stephen Curry, Ray Allen, LeBron James, all these guys that are great shooters, KD, Kevin Durant, they do not shoot with shoulders square. Kobe Bryant, they shoot off their shoulder, off their right side of their body. And also, Mason, show us before, your feet. We don't have feet square to the basket. Our feet really don't matter all that much. Now, yes, we want to get our feet to the spot. We want our feet under our shoulders. We want a shooting foot. We want his toe in the direction of the basket, but it's not going to be pointed directly at the basket or the target. Okay, so our feet are askew a bit, and that's okay. It's going to be, and you're going to find that it's more comfortable. It's less for you to worry about. It's the stuff that happens in the upper body that we're concerned with. All right, so step 1 is the before, what it looks like before you shoot. Okay, we should be able to take our guide hand off the ball, okay, and not have to worry about that ball leaving our hand. And as I come in closer here, so you can see, is the palm touching the ball. We don't want the palm touching the ball. We want his fingers, and you see Mason's looking through here. We tell him, if you can see light through here, then you're in good shape. And he can. He wants to have a big hand, open his hand up, and we want, as he follows through here, at the end, you're going to see he's going to put the trigger finger, his index finger is going to be the last finger that leaves the ball. We want to drive that finger down. Okay, and the ball will come off his index finger last. Okay, when I say step 2. So step 1, show us step 1 again, Mace. So here's what you teach. Step 1, And then when we say step 2, what you tell your players is you go from step 1 to step 2 as quickly as you can. What we want to emphasize here is that the ball does not come back. It does not come back at all. It goes from Mason's shoulder to a high release at 1 o'clock. If his, well, from this perspective, it would be 11 o'clock. If his hands were on a clock right now, Mason, put the ball down. Okay, so finish step 2. If his hands were on a clock, that would be at 1 o'clock. Put it at 12 o'clock. Put it at 2 o'clock. Okay, we don't want to be at 2 o'clock. Okay, we want to finish at 1 o'clock, nice and high. Okay, so we're step 1, step 2. That ball's going to come off his index finger last, and he's going to hold step 2 until I say step 1 again. All right, ready? Step 1. Hand off. Guide hand off. Guide hand back. Step 2. Okay, and then when I say step 1 for Gabe, step 1, Mason can put his hands down. Guide hand off. Guide hand back. Step 2. And you can notice, look at Gabe's step 2. Hold that right there, Gabe. You can see he's at 1 o'clock, right? He's at 1. If you look at his guide hand went with the ball, but it didn't push. You can see that his thumb is pointed back towards him, and his guide hand is not, Gabe, put your guide hand toward the ball once, toward the target. Put your guide hand toward the target incorrectly. His guide hand is not pointed towards the target. If it's like that, then we know he pushed with the ball, or he pushed with his guide hand. And I know that we say, okay, step 1, you can put your hand down. It's okay at lower levels, but you need to start emphasizing that it's one hand in the basket. All right, this is what this looks like. Ready? Step 1. Step 2. Step 1. Step 2. Step 1. Step 2. Full extension. Step 1. Step 2. Okay, good. All right, so this is a great way. You can watch your whole team do it. You can, at once, you can look up and down the line, see what's going on, make sure that they're doing it correctly. All right, now, we're moving right into form shooting. So Mason's going to shoot 5 from the right baseline, and we want him to shoot at a spot where he thinks he can make 5 out of 5, and he's going to swish each one. So if I'm Mason, I'm moving in, because that's what we want him to think, is I need to make each one of these using perfect form. Gabe's going to rebound if necessary, get him back to him, and then we switch. Go. Hold that follow through till the ball goes in. Go from step 1 to step 2. Don't bring that ball back. Okay, then we switch. From step 1 to step 2, think step 1, step 2. Don't bring that ball back. Drop it in. We want it to hit the middle back of the rim, of the basket rather. The middle to the back of the basket. Hold that follow through. So the ball goes in. Think step 1. Now we move to the middle, or to the wing rather. We want to shoot 25 of these. Go ahead. We want to shoot 25 of these every day before. You're getting a little sloppy. We want to shoot 25 before we do any real shooting. Shoot them. We want to swish them right now, Mace. We're not using the backboard. We're just swishing them. Hold that follow through. Think about what you're doing. Deep practice. Focused practice. Not just coming in and doing something just to do it. Think about what you're doing. What are you thinking about right now? What are you thinking about right now? Gabriel, what are you thinking about? Stop. What are you thinking about? Your form. What about your form? What? Not turning his guide hand. This is something that Gabe has had to work on. What else are you thinking about? One more thing. Finishing at 1 o'clock. Mason, what are you thinking about as you're doing this? Backspin, that's something Mason's had to work on.